Hi class, this is Professor Nugent. I just want to let you know, which you probably already know because I announced this in class, and I sent out an announcement that our class is now online as instructed to by the Dean and the Provost. So with this online class, I had posted this announcement here where I'm basically saying our class is online. You will have access to video lectures for the remaining chapters, sort of like what I do in class. That'll just be recorded, so you watch that. And I finished up lecture 5 on Monday, and that's been posted. I'm going to create a separate video today for reviewing Zoom Y3 or year 3. And in this video, we're going to talk about the midterm and how that's going to work. So basically, the midterm is online, and it was always going to be online. So I'm just going to explain how that's going to work and how you should study it and things of that nature. Now, if you do have any questions during the rest of this semester, please feel free to email any of my 5 excellent TAs, which will no longer be holding office hours after this week, but will be available through email if you have questions, and in certain cases, up to them if you want to schedule an appointment to meet with them, if they're cool with it. It's up to their discretion, though. So let's go to the exam. All right. So, okay. So here is the sample exam. I put up, let's go back to the beginning here. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to click on assignments, and then you're going to click on take a quiz/test. Now, quiz 1 won't open up until Wednesday, March 25th. I think in the morning, very early morning. So you're not going to see it here. But what I did leave for you is a sample exam so you get an idea of how this is going to work. So when you click on the sample exam, for example, I already had it open and then I closed it. So if you have a situation where you have the exam open, you're working on it, then it closes, you can go back in. You'll have this button here say finish the test. This does not mean submit what you've done and get a low score. It means go right back in and continue working on the exam. So when you're on the exam, now this is a sample exam, so it means nothing to your grade. Whatever score you get on this, it's going to be deleted from your grade book. This has no effect on your score of the class. It's just an example exam. So what you get here is you get this remaining time. So this is a countdown clock to how much time you have remaining. And for the sample exam, I set it to 20 minutes. When the exam gets to the end of the time clock, it automatically submits what you have. If you're done with the exam, you click on Submit Test when you're done. For ordinary working purposes, you read the question, of course, and then you answer the question. And this is just a series of multiple choice questions. And then you hit Next. And you go to the next question, and then you're going to enter in. You may have one of these, icons here where you click on and you get additional information, just like the homework. And then, so you get the information and you type in your answer. Just as always, you make sure you round to whatever the rounding instructions are. And you might have a couple of multiple choices here. So just similar to the homework. Then there'll be some multiple choice questions that you'll click on. Could be a true and false question, possibly. And you go through it. Now, you may want to go back. So here you can go back. And if you want to go back and change your answer, this was a question we had in class. Yes, you can go back and change things and you can go forward. But the clock never stops. So once you sit down to take the test, make sure you have a full amount of time. I'm going to give you about 3 hours to take the exam. I think it's 3 hours to take the exam. So make sure when you sit down, you have 3 hours to work on it. Because if you stop it, you can't stop it. The clock, once it's set, will keep going. So you can't start it. Oh, I'm having trouble. Let me go read the textbook and come back. The clock will run out and the test will submit. So start the test when you're ready and you're prepared and you've studied. And then when you get to the last question, you can't forward anymore. So you could go back and review if you have some extra time. And then when you're done, you're going to hit Submit Test. Okay, so then when you submit test, you're not going to see the results right away until everybody's completed the exam. But in this sample exam, I left it up so when the test is completed, then you'll see your score, and then you'll get a list of the questions you got right and wrong, and then it will also you can also click on each question and see what you got right and wrong. And then that's how the test works. So it's pretty simple, right? So let me go that. So again, you yourself can go to the sample exam, click on that sample exam, and get an idea of how the test is going to work. Because I set the settings identical to what the test will be, except for the time. So you can get a real feel for how the test is going to work. So this is the best way to get an idea of what the exam will be like. Now, on the exam, if you go to, I'm going to go to Blackboard. So on announcements, I'm going to open up an announcement here, test 1. So I'm going to open this up. And so I'm going to modify this a little. So test 1 is on March 25th. So the test will be available at 4 a.m. and ending at 11:30 p.m. So if it ends at 11:30 p.m., you need to start it by 8:30 p.m. so you have the full 3 hours to work on it. If you start it at 11:30 p.m., it's just going to auto-submit. So you need to get it done before, probably start before 8:30 p.m. to be safe. So, of course, there's no office hours on the 25th. I can kind of take out that there'll be no class since our class is online now. So here's the test review. Let me open this up. Okay, so there's going to be 40 questions for a total of 50 points, and it's going to cover chapters 1 through 5. There will be multiple choice and problems to calculate, similar to the homework problems. So you're expected to complete the test in one sitting, and you'll have 3 hours to do so. Which in that 3 hours, I'm giving you a long time to do this test, because if you have any computer issues, like your computer shuts down, you have to switch to another computer, and it takes you 5 or 10 minutes to get to another computer or another source of Wi-Fi. I already built in that extra time. That's why I extended it as long as 3 hours to take this exam. So if you have technical difficulties, those are already built in. So don't email me and say, hey, it took me an extra 10 minutes to switch computers, or it took me an extra 15 minutes to go to get other Wi-Fi, because that time has already been built in. So if you have no issues, you get extra time. And if you have issues, I already built in time for you. So there will be, I'm not going to be extending anyone's time based on minor inconveniences that you have. So be sure that that doesn't happen to you. Okay, so of course I just showed you where to take the exam, and you're going to click on, take exam quiz, and the exam will be there. And you'll have 3 hours. So students are expected to finish the exam in one sitting, like I explained before. So you must work until you're finished. You can't save the exam for later, but you can move back and forth between the problems. So if you have a problem that looks like it's going to take you a long time, you may want to, move ahead, do the multiple choice questions, and then come back to the longer problems. So that way you're a little bit more efficient. Here are the main topics on the test. So the exam is going to talk about financial ratios. So all the financial ratios are fair game. So a lot of questions on the financial ratios. What's nice about an open book test like this is that you'll have your book, you'll to see all the formulas and things like that. We'll also talk about the market ratios, cash flow deficit. We talk about the margin, cost benefit analysis. That's from chapter 1 or 2. I think it's from chapter 1. And we're going to be looking at financial statements, balance sheet, income statement that we covered in chapter 3, knowing the different accounts. I'm not going to ask you, I'm just looking for the basics of the income statement. I'm not going to ask you to construct a balance sheet or cash flow, but I may ask you to some elements of the income statement, how you calculate earnings per share, depreciation, future value, present value calculations we learned on chapter 5, present value of annuity, future value of annuity. All this was covered in chapter 5. So these are all topics that are going to be part of the multiple choice as well as the problem sets. It's not limited only to these topics, but these topics will cover surely 80 to 90% of the questions on the exam from those first 5 chapters. Now the problems, specific problems for the chapter, I actually listed out the problem number. So if you go back to review the homework, you can review the homework and match up these problem numbers to the different homework problems, and you're going to see not identical problems, but problems very similar with different numbers on the exam. So studying the homework is probably the best way to study for the exam. And also using spreadsheets like Excel, like I've been doing in class, to help you solve the problems in the homework in a spreadsheet is great, because then when you see them in the exam, you can easily push the numbers into the spreadsheet and get get the answers pretty quickly. So these are the problems they're likely to see on the exam that you want to study up on. Okay, so now that that is all set up, I'm going to make this, I'm going to open up the date restrictions on this. Oh, it's already open. So that's already available. So let me just submit this. So that's the test review that's online under announcements. Now, you also know how to complete the test in Blackboard. So all you need to do now is study. So the best people who score the highest on this exam are the ones who study for it like it's a closed book exam. So you want to read chapters 1 through 5. You can go to YouTube and rewatch the videos for chapters 1 through 5. And I'll put a link up. Let's see here. So I have a link up here called Class Videos. If you click on that, you're going to come to YouTube, and it's going to say College Finance, and that's our class. And I already have all the videos for chapters 1 through 5 up here if you want to rewatch those videos. And this is where I'll be posting new videos based on the remaining chapters. So like I said, I'll add the new videos here. So this will be, and you should smash the subscribe button if you haven't already, so that way you'll get alerts or a notification when I post the new videos. So back here. So this is easy to get to button here I installed. Okay, so now I've given you the explanation of the exam. And remember, if you ever fall out of the exam, you click on this and you click on, well, actually, I'm restarting. You can't restart the test, but I'm saying if you get into the situation where you're working on the test and then your computer closes up on you for some reason and you lose the exam, when you click on here, finish the test doesn't mean submit the test. It means just go back in and complete the test. They should really say complete the test there, not finish the exam, because that confuses people. And you can just go back in and rework on where you went. But remember, the clock doesn't stop just because the exam closed. So that's the last piece of advice I want to give you or reinforce. So that's it for this test review video. Look for my next video where I'm going to summarize the results of round 3 of the simulation. Thanks, and good luck on the exam, and have a nice spring break.